Prak with iRepairmd, and today we will be repairing a Inspire 1 drone. This drone was owned by a plumbing company, and they use it to record their major projects of land excavation. And as you can see here, it had a crash, suffered a crash. And what you're not noticing is that the arm itself right here, this is most common with the Inspire. These graphite arm, however they are, this carbon fiber arm, however they are extremely strong. They do break, and when they break, they create an awfully lot of vibration, so this copter will not stay in flight. So today in this episode we will replace the arm of the Inspire 1. So stay tuned. Okay, so for this repair, we're gonna use traditional detachable repair tool, and we also have a new arm. So this is the close-up of the arm that's been broken off. Okay. The motor, however, everything else is intact. For this repair, we are going to be replacing the new arm, and this is the arm that we have, and this is the original arm for the Inspire. And then we will be using the detachable tools here. You can get this from my website. Okay, and what we need to do is remove the shell, the casing, and then access the gimbal. Take out this joint right here, and then the retractable leg is braced with this shaft. We're gonna have to remove the shaft to replace it. We're gonna disable all these wires, rerun the wires to the motor, and then the repair, and then of course reassemble, and the repair should be done. So stay tuned, and we'll do a Inspired arm repair. And this repair is also effective for the new version Inspire 2. All right. Okay, so the first thing we do is we're going to use the T10 head right here, attach it on, and we're going to remove the nose cone. Just carefully remove the nose cone. Going to put these nose cone screw in a different location. The height of the nose cone is a little different. The top nose cone screw will be a little longer. Okay, and then the bottom half right here, the nose cone, will be a shorter screw. Be slightly shorter, as you can see here. Okay, let's go ahead and open the other side. Trying to maneuver around the camera here. Okay, now let's take the bolt out of the nose cone. Put it in a safe place. Let's go ahead and remove the nose cone. Okay. Carefully remove it. There should be a snap right here. Alright, what we need to do is pull this side right here, and then pull the other side same way. All right, we have another screw set in the bottom that's holding the nose cone. let's go ahead. First thing we need to do is deactivate. See these dampeners, they already broke off from the initial crash, so we need to go ahead and just remove these. We'll replace the new dampeners later. Now what we need to do is go ahead and take these flex cable or ribbon cable off. Disconnect the ribbon cable. Okay, so now this is the gimbal. So we'll leave this gimbal attachment out of play. Now let's look underneath the drone. So underneath two holes here, what you need to do is use a Phillips screw. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace this with a Phillips head. And we're gonna unscrew the other nose cone attachment from here. Okay, now let's get the other screw off. Once the two screws come off, let's go ahead and pull out the nose cone. Okay, so now let's look at this piece right here. So what you're looking at is the front of the drone. So this is what the drone looks like in the front with the nose cone removed. What we need to access now, okay, once we're done with that, what we need to do is also remove the shell, the top shell completely off. So we're gonna take these screw here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the other side, and then we should be able to take the shell off. Let's go ahead and do that because we need access to the front bay right there, the main computer, the main logic board bay we need to remove. For this one, we need to use the T9. Using the T9 screw, we're gonna go ahead and disengage the white enamel body from the frame so we can start our repair. Okay. What I want to do is I'm going to be using a neodymium magnet to pull out the screw. Okay, put this in a safe place. Let's go ahead and open this up. Okay, and these bolts are pretty much the same size. Let's go ahead and rotate. And let's work on the other side. Okay, some of these are a little more tightened than other. That's how DJI makes it. I don't like to use a motorized one because I have to be able to feel how much torque. I can control the torque. You don't want to strip the screws. Right, we got 3 more, or 2 more. Let's go ahead and unscrew that. This thing is definitely made differently. As to the Phantom 4 is mainly plastic. This one is mainly metal, machine metal, with the white piece being plastic, and majority of the black is carbon fiber. So this is a premium built product. It's definitely ahead of its time. Okay, now let's go ahead and carefully remove the rest of the part here. Okay, once you get that off, what we need to do now is we need to disable some ribbon cables. We need to take out some ribbon cables. There's a ribbon cable right, rotate it so you can see it. Ribbon cable right here. There's a connector. Let's go ahead using a using my tweezer. Just go ahead and carefully remove this ribbon cable. Okay, this is to the USB diagnostic cable. And then you just have to go ahead and pull the shell, there are clips. Just pull, release. There are clamshell clips here. Okay. So remove from the back. Now we're going to lift this up. Okay, and then to the front, clips too, and then on top here, underneath, you have a the GPS receiver. So there's a cable to it, and so what I'm gonna do is we're gonna detach the cable also from the GPS receiver. So let's go ahead and detach that cable using the clips, using the tweezer. Remove that, and this is the cap and the GPS clip. Go ahead, and now we're left with the bare hardware and component of the Inspired. Okay, so now what we need to do is take out the main logic board, because we need access to there's two bolts that's holding this forth together right here, and these actuator right here, the actuator we do not need to remove. However, we have to detach the actuator arm and also the bolt that's holding the actuator to the carbon fiber rod. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. What we need to do to make all this happen is we disengage all the cables. Let's go ahead and disengage the ECU cable. Peel it off. Now this is the compass cable. Take the compass off. This is the motor cable, left, right. Detach that. This is the other side of the motor cable. Go ahead and detach that off. And then you have the gimbal cable here, which we will keep intact. Okay, so what we need to do is go ahead and we need to remove these screws holding these into place. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 total, 2 on each side. Okay, we will be using the T6 bit this time to remove the logic board assembly, the black box you can say, off. Drop it into the tray. Right, it should be 2 on each side. Okay. And bottom here. I probably need to use my magnetic neodymium magnet to get access. Let's go ahead and rotate and access the other side. And this is my tray here, my screw tray. We have these two here. Using the T6. And then we have to remove the DJI sticker here. There's a warranty sticker. It's way past its warranty. Okay, let's go ahead and take access to the other T6. All right, drop it in here. Okay, so now we can pull the main board out, and notice you have these antennas. These are antennas, the left and right antenna. These are the light bridge antennas. Let's go ahead and disengage it. It's just a pop-in connector. Okay, see how this is crossed right there? We make sure it's put the same way. Okay, let's go ahead and unplug these connectors. black on the outside, gray on the inside. Now you have the main board out of play. Okay, once we get the main board out of play, we need to remove this piece so we can have access to the actuator and to replace the arm. So there are, on the bottom, there are 4 T6 holding this bracket on. So let's flip it over. Give you better access. Okay, these are the 4 T6. Let's go ahead and use the T6. Oops. This is going, switching back and forth to T. This is the T8. We're going to be using a T8 on this one. T8 screw. Okay. T8 screw on this. T8 screw. 3 more to go. Okay. Now 2 more on the bottom. All right. Got 1 more left. Right here. Okay. Let's go ahead. Once that is done, we are just going to go ahead and pop. Okay, once it's done, we're going to go ahead and pop the connectors off. Let's move everything out of the way. And now we should be able to lift this up, drop it down. And these are on a rubber shoe. So let's remove that, and that's the rubber shoe it's on. Okay, now we have access to the main piece we're trying to get rid of, trying to open, which is this piece right here. That is the main bolt that is for fastening the 2 arms. But we have to go to the other side also to remove this component too. So what we need to do now is take the battery well off. Okay, so what we need to do now is to remove this whole back piece right here from the rest of the chassis. So we're going to use a T6 screw to take care of the rest. There should be 3 on each side. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove the screws here. Let's go ahead and remove the T6 screws here. I'm going to go ahead and use a magnet to aid what I'm doing. Putting a magnet on the tip. That will allow me to pull out the T6. Okay, this is definitely not an easy repair. If you have a arm on a Inspire replaced, you might want to send it to us. This is definitely a more difficult repair task. Okay, there should be another T6 screw right here inside. Okay, let's access that. Okay, once that is done, let's go ahead and use a magnet to pull it out. That's the screw there. Okay. Now that we have to do the other side. Okay, T6 here. On this side. Another T6. Okay, and then one more T6 right here. If I can have access to it. This is a very tight one. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull it out. We have that out now. Okay, let's put these screws in a safe place. Now we're going to go ahead and carefully pull out the rest of the body. So again, these are on rubber fasteners, and pull it out very carefully. All these wires here, what you don't want to do is, well, you want to disengage this fastener first. Okay, we have a lot of different wires. Okay, and this wire will lead to the rest of the logic board. But all we need is access. All we need is access to this bolt right here. Okay, and now that we have access to the bolt, we can go ahead and loosen it. Okay, now that we have this off, what we need to do is go ahead and take the rest of the body. Okay, be very careful. And then loosen some of this. We want to flip this over, keep all the cable intact. Okay, so we need access to this piece right here. Need access to the top piece right here. So now I have access to it. We're gonna go ahead and loosen the screw, the bolt. So this is the back of the drone. So what we need to use is the one of this hex nut right here, hex bolt. And we're gonna go ahead and loosen the actual shaft now, and this shaft is threaded. I'm gonna pull that out. Okay, that will loosen the bolt. That's the pin that will allow us to separate the arm. Let's go ahead and flip it over and access the other side. It also has a pin on top. If you can see it, it is right here. This pin here. Let's go ahead and do that as well. Okay. That's also a bolt that's holding it in. Let's pull that off. Okay, so what we have now is the actuator arm. Let's go ahead and remove the actuator. We're going to be using a T6 with the standard version on the other side to hold in place. And we're going to be using the T6 here to go ahead and free up the screw right here. All right, let's go ahead and pull out the actuator rod and the other piece. Put away. And now what you have is a free arm now. You should be able to separate. Already took the connectors off. Now this should be free from the rest of the drone. Okay, so now and these other piece back here, we need to go ahead and take that off. Okay, and we're going to use the T5. Let's go ahead. There are 4 sets, 8 total of these hex screws here, a penelope screw, and we're gonna go ahead and take all of it out. Okay. Alright, now let's go ahead and on the other side, the bottom half, do the same thing. And if you guys wreck your Inspire and you haven't done this before, I highly recommend you send it to us. You can click on the link below to my website, and it comes with the instruction on how to send it. And this is definitely from 1 to 10, I would say it's 9.5 as far as difficulty. It requires a lot of components that needs to be put back together. You're pretty much rebuilding the whole drone, because once you have access to the arm, you need to remove the whole assembly of the drone in order to even get to the point of the arm where I am now. And thus it does require an extensive knowledge on the drone. Okay, so now we have this piece. Let's go ahead and pull this off. Okay, so now what we need to do is run the wires out of this. From the top right here, we're gonna have to slowly fish the wire out without damaging any units. See this piece right here? Let's go ahead and take the cap off. Okay, and carefully make sure you don't damage this connector. And you have the power cable here, and then you have the antennas, then you have the speed controller here. So fish it out carefully. Be extremely careful. Let's go ahead and fish out the antenna first. We're gonna do one set at a time. So we have this piece here. Okay, antenna. Pull the antenna out. Antenna's here. And now the black cord antenna will be coming too. Okay, and now we have the speed controller cable. Pull that out. Now it's time for the power cable. Okay, this might need a little more coaxing. So at the tip, I'm going to use my tweezer. There we go. So now this is off. Now you can see this piece right here, this carbon fiber that's been ripped. So it's no longer good. Let's go ahead and replace it with the new one. All right, So this is the carbon fiber that we're replacing it with. Okay, and let's go ahead and take the new carbon fiber assembly off here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go a little faster. I'm gonna go ahead and skip to the point. You've seen this done already. Okay, so now let's go ahead and run this back to the drone itself. And keep in mind, you have to keep, this is the bottom and right. So this, make sure that R, if you're placing the right side, is facing downward. Okay, left will be the L on the other side. So you can see this two piece right here. It matches with the single piece there, and one single piece is the two receiver piece on the other side. So let's go ahead and run the wires. What we need to do is run the power cable. Run the power cable back to this side. Okay. So go ahead and run the power cable. We might need to fish it out. All right, this is the tricky part. Okay, now that I got it through, I'm gonna use my tweezer to fish each one of these. Just give you a better angle of me using my tweezer. So using my tweezer to pull each power cable back out. This is the red. The black should be going to this side also. Let's push the black back in this way. Okay. Carefully pull it back through here. Okay, now the power cable is back. And now the antenna and all the other connector cable is going to go through and coming out this side here. Let's go ahead and do that. Antenna. We got to be pretty wise here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a special technique. So the most efficient way is to use a Ninja Flex cable. We're going to run it in here. Once I have it, I'm going to go ahead and tie the cables safely to it, then I pull it to the other end. Okay. You don't want to damage any of these connectors in the process. So I'm going to go ahead and tie the Ninja Flex in. This is my 3D printing filament that I find it more useful. Okay, so now just pull the cable back in through here. There you go. Now you got one set. Now let's go ahead and fish the other few set in. Run this back down. Okay. Running back through here. Now let's go ahead and fish the speed controller cable. Again, make sure you don't damage any of the connectors. So I'm going to tie the lead end to my Ninja Flex here. Now, all right. So now, in order to not damage anything, I am going to use my painter's tape and create a form where this will pull without any issue through the rod. Okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead and pull it through the rod. Okay, I got it out. There we go. So we got the power cable and the two antennas, ECS, electronic speed controller. And now let's go ahead and put the brackets back onto here. So you have these on this side. You have these washer, or these I guess you call it rims, or these ferrules. Let's go ahead and cap it up. Put these back on. Now we're going to bolt it up. Okay, so we're going to bolt it. Put the original bolt back on here. Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and bolt this on. I'm gonna speed up the process. You've seen how I put it back on. So let's go ahead and skip forward to that point. Let's go ahead and bolt. When you bolt this on, you wanna bolt using a perpendicular, actually diagonally. So once I bolt this one on, I want to go underneath and bolt the other piece on so it has an even grip. Pull this over here. And now let's go ahead and bolt this side on. Okay. And we're just gonna go ahead and bolt it, fast forward to a point when we'll finish with this. All right, so now that we have that done, let's go ahead and put this drone back together. So how do we put it together? The same way we took it apart, but backwards. So that's my smart comment for the day. Let's go ahead and put the shoe back on here. Okay, and there we go. Actually, the shoe should be here on this side. This is the power shoe here. And so now let's go ahead and rebolt. First thing we need to do is attach the actuator arm back on. So you look right here. Put the actuator arm back into place. Insert the rod into here. Okay, carefully work it so it lines up. All right, go ahead and insert the actuator arm back. Let's get it just right. All right, so let's go ahead and tap this actuator arm into place. Okay, now let's go ahead and put the cap on. That actuator arm right there. Okay, and this is the cap. Okay. Now let's tighten it up. All right. There we go. Let's straighten the drone up. Actuator arm back on. Okay, now I have the actuator arm out. Let's go ahead and get my fishing wire out of the way. Take the tape off. And then loosen the wires. Okay. There we go. So now let's go ahead and put the arm to match each other. So let's go ahead. You can see right here, we're putting the 1 to 2, 2 to 1. Okay, so now we have this standing up the way we want it to. What we need to do is adjust this a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and adjust this leg a little bit to where I want it. Okay, so let's go ahead and tighten the grip on this. All right, so what we need to do is go ahead and put the bolts back in. These are the bolts here. Let's go ahead and reapply the bolt back into here. There we go. Let's pull this over where the bolt matches. Okay. So this is where the bolt matches. We can go ahead and realign the body. Now we're going to run the front bolt first. Front of the drone right here. We're going to stick the front bolt into here. Okay, we're going to raise this to the point where we can actually match it with the rest of the drone. Okay, so now what you do is you have this already, the bolt in. Let's go ahead and tighten the bolts up. Run it all the way through. All right, now let's turn it over and we're fastening this other side right here. Now the hard part is done. So now's the time for the fun part. After we do this, we're gonna have to go ahead and put everything back together. It does look like a big mess, but trust me, it's actually fairly easy. So now we have these connectors here. Okay. 1 second, let's put these connectors into place. So again, let's put the power cable back in. Okay. Female to male, male to female. And then set it back into this hole right here. Wrap this around. Now we have this cable here. And now we're gonna run this to this side on the top. Put the gasket back in place. Like what we have here. Like so. All right, so put the gasket back into place here. The top, bottom to bottom. There we go. Now let's go ahead and put this gasket back into this place too. Bottom to bottom, top to top. Okay, everything's in place. Now let's go ahead and snap this back on. Do this here. Okay, now let's wrap these wires around the way we had it. Okay, so these are the power cables. And they wrap around here the way I had it. All right. Let's run these power cable back. Top of this. Okay, so these power cable here, they run in to the side here. See, like the way we have it here. Same on this side. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and put back everything into place. So let's go ahead and put the rubber receiver to the rubber hole. We're gonna fasten the drone body on like so. Now this is secure. So now we have that secure. Now we have that secure. We're gonna run the cables around. We're looping everything back into place. Okay, so these cables run to the length of this. Same with these cable, they wrap around and move towards the front like what we have here. Okay, and then we can go ahead and tighten the screw for this cable up. Tighten all the screws. Okay, let's go ahead and put the number 5 screws back on. go ahead and put the number 5 screw back into place. This is the cable protector. Okay, well, what we want to do is run this cable on top, cable protector underneath. Here you go. Let's tighten that up. And there's 2 screws there using the number 5 penelope. Use the machine one. Machine number 5 penelope. Back into place. Same on the other side. Okay. Make sure this cable is resting on top. Number 5 machine penelope. Make sure it's aligned. And let's go ahead and tighten it. Okay, each side takes 2, so a total of 4 to be symmetrical. And in the case you happen to drop the screw like I did, let's go ahead and pull it up. Fasten it back into there. Okay, that's fastened now. Let's go ahead and attach the control board back in. This is the main control board. Okay, let's go ahead and look down. So basically all these cables here, the rest the antenna cable first. Okay, so basically the gray is crossing over like this, black on this side, okay, and the black on the outside on here, like I have it, and the gray cross over here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and insert this into the slot below, right here. Get you a better angle. So there's a slot here. Drop the 2 ribbon cable to the slot below, like I have it here. And now, let's go ahead and put the receiver back into place, like I have it here. Okay, but what we need to do before we do all that is we're gonna have to put this receiver piece here. It's the receiver piece into these 2 rods here, okay? And this is facing downward for a bracket. So let's go ahead and work our way down there to place the brackets. All right. Brackets into place now. Putting the receiver back into place. Actually, let me rest my bracket one more time. The bracket should be dividing the receiver like I have here. Okay, pretty tight fit. Okay, now let's go ahead, make sure the bracket is rested. Now put the plastic rod into the receiver, rubber shoe, like that, see? And now you can go ahead and bolt the receiver back onto here. Let's go ahead and run this cable around. Okay, so now you got the main board cable, snap in. Now you got the ECS plug into place. Okay. That's connected. The gimbal wires are now down to be connected to what this piece down here is a little later. Now let's go ahead and work this up top cable around the fan. Okay, so now we have these two pieces right here. Okay, now that we have the nose of we have the drone flip over, and this is the bottom where the gimbal is attached. We're gonna go ahead and fasten the logic board bracket back into place. Put the screws back in. There's 4 of them. Okay, while we're at it, let's go ahead and pull the other flex cable through this. And this is for the camera gimbal. All right, let's go ahead and put the other 3 on. Okay. 2 more left. There we go. The other one in here. The final 4th one. Okay, so now let's go ahead and fasten. Let's connect these back in. Okay, let's flip it over first. Flip the drone over again. We'll fasten the other one later. Let's go ahead and put these side screws back on. So the screws over here, located on the side. See, these one goes to here. Okay, these are all number 3 screws. Actually, number 5 penelope. Okay, let's go ahead and put that into place. Put the number 5 penelope in to tighten. Oops. Just push this out again. Gotta make sure it's perfectly aligned in order for it to go into its socket. Okay. There we go. Now that's in. Got 1 more on the bottom and 2 more on the other side. Okay, 1 on the bottom here. Okay, now flip it over to the other side. And then we do the same thing. Connect this here. Right. Oops. Let's put it into place. Squeeze it in so it aligns. And here we. Okay, so now that we have everything connected, let's go ahead and do a final inspection. Make sure everything is symmetrically set up. Make sure everything is, all the wires and everything's connected, and visual inspection is good. I'm gonna go ahead and connect the gimbal cable back onto here too. Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and put the top plate back on. right, so we have the top plate here with the GPS receiver. Let's go ahead, put that into place like so. Okay, so the GPS receiver, get a better angle here. All right, GPS receiver snapped in the right place. Let's go ahead and put the shell, position it back on here, turn to the side, okay, so you can give you a better angle of what we have. Let's go ahead and rest this back in. These are snap connectors. So make sure all the snaps goes into place. Okay. Trying to give you the best vantage point here. All right, now that's in. Let's go ahead and fasten the other side here. Okay. Let's make sure that goes in. There we go. All right, so that's in. All right, let's look at the snap connectors on this side. We have to line it up. There we go. All the snaps are in place. Arms are connected. Now all we have to do is tighten the screws to connect to this. Okay, and these are the connectors. Let's go ahead and run the screws to it. All right, so let's go ahead and put these screws back in place to fasten the exterior shell. Okay, we have two of these, T9 on each side. Rotate over to this side and repeat the same step. All right. There we go. Tighten that up. Okay, here's the other one. All right, now what we want to do is to replace this cable right here. You can see it back into its socket. What we're going to use is tweezer. There you go. Lock that cable back into place. Now we're going to go ahead and see the front piece right here. We're going to lodge it in to here. Okay. Lodge it, connect it in. There you go. Let's pull that forward like we did the other one. That's in place. Now everything is secure. Let's go ahead and put the T9 on the back. Okay, flip it over. On this side, also a T9. Okay. There you go. Now, so physical inspection of everything. Everything looks great. Now we're gonna go ahead and put the nose piece back on. Alright, so the nose piece, you can see, we're gonna put it right onto place. And actually, he provided us with a new nose piece. However, I think this nose piece is better, so we're gonna keep the old nose piece. The new one is a little refurbished and the quality is not that great. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these T9 bolts back in. Okay, so the top one gets the long piece. This is the top one here. Okay. Put this back in. This is the T10. Let's go ahead and fasten it. On the other side, the same. All right. Then the bottom here. Other piece in the bottom. Okay. Flip it over. And I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this cable one more time so I can get to the other two screws. Disconnect the gimbal cable, gimbal controller, and now let's set it up like this. Give you a better angle. Goes the bottom of the gimbal here. This two piece right here. We're gonna put the Phillips screw in. All right, so we're gonna drop our Phillips screw into there. And this is the Phillip. Here's the other Phillip. All right, and we're gonna tighten it. All right, now we have the two Phillips in. Let's go ahead and tighten the shell, the nose piece back to the bottom. There we go, one more piece. Okay, and that is done. Let's rotate this drone back. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I should notice the old dampener has ripped. So we're gonna replace it with these new, I believe higher quality dampeners. Let's go ahead and put the dampeners in first. So these dampeners, go ahead and work the dampener into the gimbal like that. On the other side, the same. Okay. Work it through. And now you have these Aris dampeners. In my opinion, they are a lot better. Okay, now let's go ahead and put the cable back on. So I'm going to connect these cables back into place. Okay, now the gimbal cable are in place. Let's go ahead and run the dampeners to the bottom half, right here. Okay, this is a more secure and higher grade dampener that we upgraded to. Just gotta add some power into it to make it work here. Okay, I'm gonna push it with a little tweezer. Got a little 8 from a tweezer here. Don't want to damage or break through the silicone seal of the dampener with this sharp point. Let's go ahead and okay, so now we got that dampener in place. And let's do the other dampener here. Let's work it in. All right, still working it. The harder it is to get in, the more snug the fit. All right, so now we got these dampeners in properly. Now securing this drone is now ready for a test flight. First, we're going to run a preliminary. We're going to put the battery in and power the drone on to make sure everything is checking in. When I said the right way, by the way. Okay. Let's listen to that sound that we want. Yep, that means everything's online. Blue indicate it is ready. See, this drone is ready, and so we're gonna go ahead and test fly it outside. Stick the Inspire out. Put the props on.
Alright, so now you can see everything works perfectly great. This is like a brand new drone. This is packed with iRepairmd, safe repair and safe flying.